right, getting set up here. Should be live very shortly. And there we go. Okay. Hello and welcome to the Protocyle. I had talked about doing a making of with this track that I made for the Composer Accelerator Challenge hosted by Evenant Scoring. So cool. This was such an amazing project. We were given 1 minute of video footage to do to do a film score to. And I'd never done anything like this, though I have made videos and had music. It felt very special to be writing something very specific that would go with the visuals. So it was a great experience, and I hope he does a challenge like this again because it was a lot of fun. So I want to talk about how I made this. First of all, Cakewalk is awesome for being able to just drag and drop the video footage right in here. So it has this whole video section where, yeah, I just took it from a browser window and just dragged it in. And there it is. So that was easy right off the bat. And now let me show you the different kinds of sorry, I'm trying to do too many things. Okay. I wanted to show you. So first of all, this is an original piece that I wrote, and for some reason, I got it into my head that I really wanted it to be in Latin because the imagery was just so epic. It's like a volcano and an eclipse, and it's just so Latin seemed like the most appropriate form of language to express the epicness. So that was really fun to write, and I got help from a Reddit community, the Latin subreddit community. Thank you so much, especially to Hunter, who helped me with the translation and made it make sense. So let's go through we'll play it first so you can hear it. Let me make sure that everything's working for my setup. Okay, and that you can hear the desktop and everything. Short. I realized I should have been playing the video as well. I think, yeah, so I'm just right clicking on here and you can open video window view. And so let's do it again so you can see it with the picture. Yay. All right. There we go. That was my first little film score. And yeah, let me just go through what each of these instruments I used were. So I really love, there's a free synthesizer called Vital. And if you don't have it, the description is, I have links in the description for all of these plugins that I'm using. And I think they're all free, which is pretty incredible because Cakewalk's free and all these great plugins are free. Man. So this first one, Vital, is just incredibly powerful synthesizer that can do just damn near anything. And I've gotten a lot of amazing sounds from, there's a creator named Millisonics, who I definitely recommend you check out his stuff because his sounds are just amazing. Part of the Jansen Sounds community, also amazing. They're kind of like, Jansen show on YouTube here is like cooking show for synthesizers sound. It's really fun. So this sound is called it's not electric chant. That was something I tried, but I didn't like very well. I gotta label it correctly. Paper Plucks is the name of it. The sound. That's funny. I didn't notice that. And it sounds like this. And that's good. That sound is pretty much going through the whole project. And then you see these big triangle lines here. Those are panning automations, which I'd go to by clicking up here. Oh. I soloed you. Anyway, so this is Vital. Do I have any other Vital things? No. I mostly wanted this to be organic sounding, but with a little bit of electronic flavor. Just a little bit of electronic flavor. I guess they call it hybrid. I'm part of a Taxi as well, and they often ask for like hybrid instrumentals, especially for trailers. So things that have electronic elements or like big synthesizer elements, but then lots of orchestral instruments that are rather traditional. So I wanted a little bit of that for this. So that's Vital Synth. Just incredible. What an amazing synthesizer. Like, it's got just, and all these effects on it that you can have. You can have its own set of effects. Like, not even going into the Pro Channel or any third-party plugins, just on the synthesizer itself, it has loads of effects that you can add. Also fun. Then this next one, I was so happy. So happy to learn about a plugin instrument called Sforzando. Sforzando is rather like Contact in that it runs off of actual WAV files, samples. And there's an amazing creator. I forget his name. It's something Christensen. It is in the description. I highly recommend you go to his site to download this set of Taiko drums for Sforzando. And Sforzando is a free instrument also, and it's like a sampler instrument. And it runs off of SFZ files, and it's really neat. It's like an open source virtual instrument that people have like made these cool instruments, and a lot of people have made awesome instruments for free, including this wonderful person who did these Taiko drums, which just sound like it made all my dreams come true to have this sound finally. Like, I've been wanting a good Taiko drum sound for a long time. So this was just thrilling that I could get it to work. So let me play these for you in solo. And I split it out. The way that the whole thing works is that there's some sounds that are on the lower end of the keyboard, and then there's some clacky sounds on the higher end of the keyboard, and I wanted those separated out so I could EQ them differently. And I wanted the lower sounds to be more EQ'd like more like a kick, and the clacky sounds more like tops or hi-hats. So I split them out over here into, this is the Taiko low parts, the big boomy parts, and then the Taiko tops. So I play that for you now. Let me make sure. Well, I'm not sure why some of these are wanting to sing when I've got just those soloed. I think it has to do with sends. Yes, okay, so let me make those all post fader, and then they shouldn't be interfering. And those are, okay, now leave those alone because those are for the compressors. All right. Yeah, this Taiko sound, it's huge. It has some reverb already in it, some of the sounds, but I added more because more reverb on Taiko drums makes it epic. Yeah, let me see how I set up the sends. It looks like I didn't add all that much reverb, actually. And this was all done within a couple of days, really. So it's fun for me to look back at this and be like, how did I do this? Because I have this grand hall sound with Valhalla on it. And for reverb, I like to set up a reverb bus or two, depending on the types. But I just wanted a great big reverb. And for that, I use Valhalla Supermassive, which is free and comes with a lot of amazing presets that are so fun to play with and easy to tweak. So this is just a great big, nice reverb on it that sounded like kind of a grand hall to me. And I actually saved this program as an instrument. You'd go to save instrument. If you tweak something and you really like the sound of it, then you can save it and save it in wherever you would save your presets. So I've got Valhalla, but who is... Okay, so the French horns, the trumpets... Who else is going to the Grand Hall? Just the French horns and trumpets, I guess. Wow, I didn't have reverb on the Taiko? But I have sound delay. I have sound delay on the Taiko. This is very interesting, and I don't 100%... I can't 100% explain this as well as Dan Worrell does in the video Headphones Are Not Stereo. That video is in my sound production playlist. It's one of the first ones, I think. Anyway, he explains what this is doing. It's I'm setting up like a mid side delay in the drum sound. So rather than being a real obvious delay, where it's like an echo, it's just offsetting one band, one band of EQ by I believe it's just like 1 millisecond. And what it does is it widens the sound. Let me play this sound for you with this bypassed on the drum sound, and you can hear what I mean. So here's what it sounds like with it on. And you see how they're a little offset, that M and that S mid side. So with that bypassed, it sounds like this. It's different. I don't know if you can hear that fully with, and let me take this. I also have the same thing on the sound, so I have it kind of running through two different things. So let me take it off of there as well. That one's really, really subtle. But then this one, and that comes back on. widens and deepens the sound. And I have all of the drums running through that bus where I have that sound. So, and this is, again, this is a free plugin by Voxengo. Bless them. Just love those guys. I don't know why they make everything free for us, but I really appreciate it. And it's quite the little secret weapon to make a wider sounding anything, really. I often use it on drums and on bass, but it can work for a lot of different things. But just like with anything, don't just put it on because you think you should. Make sure to like bypass it, A/B it, check it to make sure it sounds like good. Sometimes I put it on things and it makes it sound bad. I can't remember exactly what I put it on. Some synthesizers and things where it just, for whatever reason, it just didn't sound, it didn't give it the effect that I wanted, so I didn't put it on. Because it seems like, oh, this is just a perfect weapon to put it on everything to make it sound instantly excellent. And no, but it's great on certain things, and I have it as part of my template, my usual like starting template on the drum and usually on the bass as well. So that's the Voxengo sound delay, which is pretty cool. I really hope that y'all can hear me so that, yeah, this is coming across. Let me know if there's any problems with my sound coming across. Okay, so we talked about the Taiko drum sound, and I could go on about that. How do I have those EQ'd? Let's take a look. Oh, this was for the low part. So I pulled off some of the highs with a low pass. That's what this LP is right here. You can let the lows pass while cutting off the highs. It's also called a high cut. It's confusing. So that's what I did for that, and I beefed up a little bit of the low boom boom sounds. Some of this is like beyond human hearing. Elephants can appreciate it though. And then for the higher tops, I have them EQ'd with this bumped up, the clacky business bumped up. It looks like I left a lot of the lows in as well. I'm not sure why I did that, except maybe I was strapped for time. But anyway, so the clacks are nice and clear. Alright, I think that's how I got that. I noticed also that I turned off the sound delay on the tops. I wonder if it was causing a phasing issue. Notice a big difference. We'll just leave it off. One less thing for my computer to make a fuss about. And okay, so that's the Taiko sound. Really pleased with it. Just so pleased. And I kind of just am using it. I'm like spamming my music with Taiko drums now because it's just such a good sound. So it's so epic. And I feel like it's pretty versatile. And then this other one is it's an electronic kick. I call it an E-kick. What is it? Oh, okay, great. This is another Vital sound. And Vital's very cool because they have some percussive things as well in their sounds that you can get. So let me solo this one so you can hear it. I think it's pretty basic. I was beefing up. What I actually, you can even see what I did here is I just took the same part as the low and copied it down so that it would give it a nice transient like pop. So you can hear it with and without. It like blends in here. But if I take it out, Again, it's subtle, but it's more of a feel thing. Like this is more of, you can feel it in your chest rather than hear the difference. That's often with those lower frequencies. They're more felt than heard. So that was a case where I was trying to like beef up the feel of it. And yeah, vital. So cool. Then, oh, what is this? Oh, get out of there. All right. French horn. Love, love, love this sound. Love, love, love this plugin. This is a Spitfire Audio Discover. BBC Symphony Orchestra. It is free and has just a wonderful, wonderful set of sounds. I love the French horn sound. The percussion is so fun. I use it a lot for other projects. Not necessarily like as a drum, but as flavor for percussion. They're really well recorded samples. Very well done. And I really like the violas. Actually, the viola tremolo in this is so good. Anyway, so the French horns, here they are. They are so amazing. And you can have long and short. Yeah, I love this dissonance that's happening. So good, so good, so good. Yeah, right here. That low. Yeah. So that French horn is just, it sounds realistic, it sounds organic, and it just sounds epic. Love it. This is a little flute sound, also from the same set. The Discovery set, and I put that at the very end. Just this little flute line here. Ah! Let me solo it. Sorry. And I have it panned over. The French horns, I also have panned over. They are, I was trying to think of it as being in, on a stage in a concert hall where the groupings of instruments would sit. I guess I could have consulted the actual, like this diagram from the BBC, because that's like how the sections sit in the room. I could have panned them like that. And I will do that next time because that's pretty smart. But yeah, I didn't do that this time. However, I was thinking about it where I wanted groupings of instruments where it would be like, well, that's where the French horn section is, and that's where the trumpet section is, and there's the flute section. So that it would sound wider and fuller and like a real performance. The flute sound, did I do anything special to the flute sound or French horn? I mean, those are just pretty much from the sound. I added the that big grand hall reverb. Oh, let me play without the reverb and with. So the French horns. Back it up here. Let me back it up to where it gets good. Hold on. If you hold Control and use your scroll wheel, you can move back and forth. Put it here. So this is with the reverb on, and then I'm going to pull it off so you can hear. Oh, that's funny. I didn't put it on both of them. I only put reverb on this one. So, okay. So here's the with reverb. Beautiful sound. And let me take it off. There's already quite a lot of reverb with it, it built into the sound. Jeez, I want more though. I know I already turned this in and everything. I might actually build this into a larger piece just because I enjoyed it so much. That reverb is actually a little bit more subtle than I expected, just because there's so much reverb on the original sound anyway. Anyway, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I find that with the strings, and you'll see what I've got going for the strings here pretty soon. With the strings, having the reverb on it is essential to make it sound a little bit more real. So let's look at the trumpets next. Again, there's just so many good instruments in this one plugin. It's a little odd that you can't take this one plugin and like have it routed out into their own MIDI tracks. So I have multiple copies of this plugin. Like these are all separate copies of the same plugin. There's probably a way to route it, but this seems to work fine and doesn't bother my computer too much with too many tracks. I have worked on projects where there's just like loads and loads and loads of this same plugin, and that does get a little CPU heavy. But for this, I didn't have that many things going on, so it worked out good. All right, these trumpets, let me solo them, and I have some compressors on them going. I have the Sonatus effects compressor. So nice kind of fanfare sound to it. Yeah, this one is the BBC, and then is this one Sforzando? Yes. Okay. Then this is another case of Sforzando, which I didn't even, when I was doing the Taiko drums, I didn't even show you what Sforzando looks like. Anyway, this is Sforzando. It's a little simple interface. It's by Plogue. And again, it is free, which is super cool. And this was part of a collection of instruments called the Free Playing Orchestra. And I have the download link in the description for Sforzando and all of these wonderful SFZ library collections. They are big. They are big collections of libraries of sound that take up quite a bit of space because they're real samples of real instruments, and a lot of them are really great. So this is one called the Trumpet SEC Sustain. Then there's ones that are here, let me go to import and you can see what all. So this is from the virtual playing orchestra. They have all these instruments. These are all collections. All of these are collections of different instruments from sampled beautiful things, like beautiful performances. They have brass. They have the Celesta. They have, I haven't even played with all of these things. No budget orchestra. Strings. There's some really nice strings in here. There's some that aren't programmed quite as well because even though they're from live samples, they also are programmed so that like the transitions between the notes will be smooth or sound natural or not. So depending on how good the programmer is. Anyway, phenomenal that all of these things were made free. And yeah, the description there's a link in the description. Oh, I didn't even play with these. These are choir sounds. Man, I did all the choir sounds myself. 'Cause it seemed like how would I program Latin? So, and I'm available, and it was fun. It's like my jam to do harmonies. Anyway, sforzando. Very simple, very, very powerful. This is a really nice trumpet sound. I liked, I had auditioned other trumpet sounds, and this one's had the most like brassy, really nice attacks too. And I found, because it didn't have as much reverb as the BBC one, that they made each other brighter because of the less reverb. So to get into, so this one, just the BBC one by itself sounds like this. Oh yeah, wait, no, that's a French horn. What am I doing? Just the BBC one trumpet sounds like this. And you can hear a lot of reverb on that. And then just the sforzando trumpet sounds like this. So together, they sound nice and bright. I wouldn't say it sounds real when they're just isolated like that, but in context, you just hear them kind of shimmering up in the background. So it'd be interesting to find a way to like bring the trumpet out more, but really the most important part is the choir, the vocals on this. So, and I do hope you can hear me okay, that this isn't just going off into the void and I'm talking to, I'm talking, my lips are moving, but you can't hear me. So I'm just going to trust that I sound okay. All right, and then this next set of sounds, track 10. Why didn't I label this? Oh, this is the cellos. Okay. Celli. Cello. The cello sound on here is really nice. I had a tremolo, cello, and a tremolo viola. So let me solo this for you. And this was one of the things that came in right at the beginning, is this cello tremolo. It's very dramatic. Sounds really nice too. I always like to use the strengths of the instruments that I have in hand and try to mask any weaknesses where they sound fake. I think that this cello sounds pretty strong and pretty real, so I felt confident to come right out the gate with it, with everything. Not all sounds are going to be like that though, and there may even be certain notes within a collection of instruments that that note does not sound good, or that sounds really fake. Like, don't use them then. Try to work around them, because there's going to be some things that are going to sound better than others. And there's ways to make certain things sound real, but man, if you can get a more real sound to begin with, that's always better. So that's the cello sound, the tremolo. And the violin sound. The violin sound, this is the viola sound, which was my favorite of the higher tremolos. And just to compare some of the other tremolos that are available. So this is the viola tremolo, which I just love. Then there's the violin tremolo, you can hear. It sounds okay, but it's a little brighter. I just like the darkness of the viola. Just seemed appropriate. And then so that was violins 2 tremolo, which is good. I also like that. And then there's violins 1 tremolo. It's good, but it's almost like a little too perfect, so it sounds more fake to me. So that's, I went with the violis. Really pretty, nice and dark. And So together, those sound like this. Nope. Together, those sound like this. Really beautiful. And the violin sound. What did I end up using? I used first violins for this. And it's just the long violin sound. Yeah, and all of these, you notice they're not a single violin. They're a violin section. So that was good for me to remember when scoring this out. I feel like I've gotten some parts that are just too thick, actually. Like this seems like a little too thick. It's pretty chord, though. But thinking about this as a whole section might be too much. Anyway, I thought it sounded pretty good. And okay, so the deal with strings and making them sound just a little bit more real, a little bit more natural, is that this set anyway in particular, did better with some reverb on it. So on the string bus, everything in light green here, I put Valhalla on, and that just gives it it sort of blurs the edges. And makes it sound just a touch more real. We'll play it with and out. We'll play it with and without just the strings. Starting here. It's with. Without. You can hear how they're kind of start and stop, but with the reverb, it kind of blurs. I would do well to put in some swells here, though. That would definitely make it sound more natural altogether. It's just like put some swell automation with some volume automation on there. All right, so now this bass sound was another vital sound that I wanted a kind of electronic sound, but honestly, it sounds almost like strings or a tuba. So beefy. Yeah. And at first I had kind of like long sections of these, but they work so much better in these like little shorter bursts. Like, boom, boom. They just sound really powerful and like are making a statement and sort of like pounding the stakes in the earth and bringing the whole composition a very grounded feel. I just love this sound. Is so beautiful. For some reason, like anything Reese just sounds so good. I don't know the story of what Reese basses are or the Reese sound, but it has to do with super saws, and this is like a very traditional thing in synthesizers is Reese. So I need to look it up because they always sound awesome, and it's hard for me to like make a project without some sort of Reese in there. They are wonderful. So that is our bass sound, our brassy Reese sound. Oh, and for this, because I wanted it just as big as possible, I put on Boost 11, which is another one of these things that is like a top secret plugin, like the vocal plugin that I did a video on. Boost 11. Let me show you this plugin. It's interesting. It's actually not showing what I thought it would, in that it was like it clips it off. I guess I have it at good levels, which is great. But normally I'll put this on something that I want nice and loud, but it's like clipping out, and no matter what I do, it's just clipping out. What Boost 11 does is that it makes sure that everything stays under the red, does not go into the red, but stays as loud as it possibly can be. So it's an intense compression, basically, and makes things loud. So, anyway, I put that on there, and it seems to work pretty good. I just love the sound. Love, love, love. Ah! So good. All right, and then this bass violin sound, let me see which one I used. Okay, this was from also the BBC, and it's a really nice bass violin sound. It sounds pretty real. There's another bass sound that I like to use. It's a sforzando one, but I didn't use that here. I didn't use much of this, honestly. So it's just in this one section. Just to give it a little bit more beef in the bottom. Yeah. Again, one of these things I maybe could have gotten away without it. Probably, just because there's already so much beef with that free space. I don't know. I like it. I like what it adds. It's more of a felt thing. All right, and onward to the choir. So, let me see if I have the words in the notes here. No, I don't. I should have. Oh well. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure which I recorded first, but to get this melody, I listened through the composition that I'd built with everything here. I listened through and I'd sing through so that I could get eventually to a melody that I liked that was somewhat solid, and then sang it through over and over until it really solidified into a main part. So I think I usually try to go record either an alto or a mezzo soprano, like soprano 2-ish, where it's the melody. And then I build it out with the higher and lower parts. So we'll just go through these. I think we'll start with the mezzo soprano. I'm not sure why I have it down here, but oh, and on nearly all of these, I have the doubler with this vocal strip. And this vocal strip is one of the top secret plugins that comes with Cakewalk. I have a video on it, and it does a great job of de-essing and doubling. And then there's a compand on there, like a compressor and expander. It's really, really cool plugin. Free. Amazing. Thank you, Cakewalk. All right, so let's go through each of these. And I melodined all of these so that they are in tune. Yeah, we'll start with the mezzo.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortenque, in iobus beatur.
Cut that S off. Okay, so that was not the melody. That was a supporting one. I wonder if it's a soprano. Actually, it's probably a soprano. So let me solo this soprano. Nope, that's not it either. Maybe it's the alto.
Cor Ardens.
Wow, nope. Maybe it's alto too.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
Wow, I don't even know how I wrote this. Okay. Well, we'll start with the soprano and add them all in, okay? We'll get to that high soprano in a minute. She's a little over the top. Sorry. Love that over the top vibrato. I wanted it just to be as over the top as humanly possible. So loads of vibrato, rolled R's where I could throw them in. Yeah, some parts where I am literally muting out the S's because right there was really, really intense. I didn't use a de-esser on this, but I did have to mute out some of the S's. So that's why it sounds a little strange in some parts, like right here where that S just cuts. I definitely could have made it more elegant, but that's not what I did. All right, and then adding the alto part. And I just make these up on the fly for the most part with harmonies. I make them up and see if they go together. And they oftentimes do because it's what I love to do. So these two parts together.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque, in ius beatum, nemo et gloria.
Those are almost an octave, I think.
Nemo et gloria eius nos, Cor Ardens Terrae.
Yeah, those are almost an octave. And that is something I always like to get in, if I can, is an octave. Where, I guess it's a harmony, but it's an octave. It certainly widens it and makes things more interesting. Even if I can't physically sing an octave, I will try to transpose it down so that I can have that on there. I had someone who told me that it was called especially if an octave down, it's called putting shoes on it, where it sort of grounds the sound. And again, it's one of those things that's a little bit more felt than heard, but I do like to get an octave where I can. And then the alto 2 part.
Cor Ardens
Play the altos together.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque, in ius beatum, nemo et gloria eius nos, nemo et gloria eius nos, Cor Ardens Terrae.
Yeah. I do like to keep an eye on ending things very carefully together. I think that's a secret with getting a really nice sounding harmony. It's getting all the consonants and everything lined up. And so when I'm doing things on the fly, I will often have to nudge things because maybe it's not perfect because I haven't had a week to rehearse it to get it all perfect. But that really makes such a difference when you can line things up very exactly with how you're saying it, the phrasing, everything, the consonants especially. Then there's this mezzo part. And we'll play that with the soprano part.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque, in ius beatum, nemo et gloria eius nos, nemo et gloria eius nos.
Love that.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
Having those moments of seconds that second dissonance where those notes are right next to each other. And so when I sing them, that it makes that like wah, 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 wah overtone. That's something that the modern composer Andre Arneson uses all the time to just the most heartbreaking effect. And I love that sound. So I tried to get that in there. It just creates such a tension, and then it gets released. And with let me see what else I stacked around that. So with the alto two bar. Yeah, tense, 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 and then the other alto part stacked with. Yeah. Love doing that. And then these bass parts are okay, fine. The high soprano, it's so ridiculous. I did this once. And I was like, that is enough. I have sung this part enough. So I'll play it for you. When you are singing that high, and I have sang in high, and I sang in a choir where I did have to sing that high. Actually, speaking of Arneson, I had the great pleasure and honor and privilege of singing one of his pieces in Carnegie Hall, and I did have to sing that high. And when you're in those registers, it's just like yelling. You lose all sense of consonance, and because you have to modify the vowels. You must modify the vowels so that you can get the note. Because at that point you're with the whole choir, so it's going to be understood. And when the sopranos are that high, they're flavor mostly. So I actually have this part turned down pretty well. Like I've got, you notice the gain on it is down further than any of the other parts. Because high parts like that, they really carry much more so than the lower parts. So it adds a lot of shimmer and flavor on top, and so I didn't need to worry so much about each and every consonant coming through or each and every vowel being exact, because the whole effect added up. So you can kind of hear it in the background, like with the other. We'll play it with the other soprano. The other mezzo. The other trick to getting a really good harmony sound is to match vibrato as much as possible. Match vibrato. So that's what I try to do here. Didn't quite do it, but I think I tried at the end too. Just yeah. Trying to get it to modulate at the same time. It just makes it sound so tight when you can get the vibratos to match. So cool. That's like what the Andrews Sisters did, and all those great soul singers. If you really listen to good backup singers, their vibratos are just like in line. Beautiful. Okay, now for the bass parts, which because I'm mostly a soprano, this was always a challenge, but it's great fun. It's great fun singing in this like lower register. It really stretches me. And I kind of have a character in mind when I'm singing these, where tenors are the stereotype is that they're like all about themselves, and that they're like want to be the loudest, most important. It's like, I got my Pavarotti on, so and I know that's not true, but it's this stereotype of like being like, I am so good. And so I tried to harness some of that in this tenor part. So here goes.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque, in iomus beatus.
Cut that S because it was intense.
Nemo ad gloria meus mus. Nemo ad gloria meus mus. Cor Ardens Terrae.
Ooh. Shouldn't have dropped off at the end there. Anyway, that's my tenor part. And then the bass part's also kind of funny, but I have like this kind of like stalwart and like really solid sort of character in mind when I'm singing these. And lots of air, making sure to support the sound that I am speaking from my like strongest muscle in my body, right? Where it's just like the thighs and the butt, where it's like singing from my thighs and butt, where it's like super, super supported, and standing up and like really feeling myself rooted into the ground as I'm singing this and giving it as much air as I can, but not too much air. If I overfill, then that is no good. You can't sing on it with overfilled lungs. It's like Renee Grant Williams talks about, it's like with a balloon, where if you blow up the balloon and then you try to let a little bit out, it just sort of screams. And that's kind of like what we do too. If we're going like, you can't really let it go. It has to be natural. So I try to do that as much as possible with the bass parts. So bass-ish.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque, in iomus beatus. Nemo ad gloria meus.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show. Thanks for stopping in.
Nemo ad gloria meus.
Yeah, Manhattan Transfer. Ooh, how cool to see them live.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
Also, with the bass parts, I didn't do a whole lot of vibrato. I left the vibrato to the upper parts. I think that partially that it has to do with control. I don't have as much control in that range of singing, so holding the notes strong and steady was more important to me than getting a matched vibrato for that part, because the other parts were matching up pretty well. So it, again, much like the super, super high soprano, they didn't have to be exact as long as the note was nice and clear and coming through. But normally I love lots of vibrato, and I love matching vibrato, and I love consonants. Consonants are my favorite thing about singing. They're so percussive and expressive, and they just give everything the flavor. But mostly I was trying to get the notes right on this. So then the other bass part, I think, was just trying to get an octave.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
They're similar.
Dans vitam mortemque, in iomus beatus.
And I cut those S's.
Nemo ad gloria meus.
Shifting a little. This is really low for me.
Nemo ad gloria
Super low.
meus mus. Cor Ardens Terrae.
So all the like dude parts here.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dans vitam mortemque,
Cool chord there.
iomus beatus. Nemo ad gloria meus mus. Nemo
I make a pretty good men's choir.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
I wish I hadn't dropped that last note, but yes, and these lower parts Some of them I have bumped up a little louder, just because the lower the note is, the sort of harder it is to hear. So then all those harmonies, how many do I have altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 harmonies. Like, what even is the melody, Lorene? I don't know. I was just stacking harmonies because it's fun. So all together with just the vocals. Ooh, I wonder if I hit if I select all of those and then hit Control Solo. Yes, it solos all of them. Awesome. So here's how all the vocals together sound.
Cor Ardens Terrae.
Yeah, this is all me singing. Okay, so these things that I muted are pretty inelegant. I'm actually gonna fix them now because I can. So I had used the mute tool to just mute out, and let me show you how intense these S's were. So right there, with the mute tool, I just hit right click and then mute, and you notice that I either get a little black box or can you see my mouse? What the heck? I don't know if you can see my mouse or not. Well, that's weird. Okay, anyway, when I'm selecting at the top of the waveform, it's a little black box. And when I'm selecting at the bottom of the waveform, it's a little like no smoking sign. And that's to mute parts and to make them unmuted. So let me unmute this little part so you can hear the intensity of the S's that I was trying to deal with here, especially this tenor. Look at that S, fat blob of an S. And I don't mind S's all that much. I think that they're expressive, but this was just a bit much. It hit F5 to get back to my smart tool. Okay. You hear all that? Yeah, all the Melodyne labels. Yep. Gotta have Melodyne. Thank you, God, for Melodyne. Really appreciate it. Really makes everything sound so nice. And it sounds natural, too. It doesn't have to sound like, the Share machine. Even though that's a cool effect. And you can do creative things with Melodyne. But when it comes to things like this, it means I don't have to rehearse this for hours and hours to get it just exactly right. And I can get things done on time. And it sounds good. And it sounds pretty natural, especially in context. So it's a wonderful tool. All right, now to deal with these S's. So I know right here in my tenor is an issue. So this is just like a straight up. So let me split that. And just, oh, shoot. I think I have, what is going on? I did this a little bit differently in that I melodined the comp, but I kept in the other stuff in the take lanes. That's all right. That's not a big deal. I'll just fade it a little bit in the comp. Hi, Gary. Welcome back. Hi, Mark. How you doing? I was getting lonely doing my live stream by myself. Thanks for coming. This is me explaining how I made the Cor Ardens Terrae epic film score, little mini film score piece that I did for a contest. And even though it did not win, I feel like I won because I learned so many new things doing this project. And man, it's fun to make a whole choir of myself. Maybe that's terribly vain, but it was really fun. So glad you're all here. I'm right now adjusting some S's because they were real intense, and the way that I had them was not the most elegant way to do it. I had just, rather than splitting it, fading it, fading it gracefully, I just muted out the tracks. There's so much else going on right there that you really can't notice it, but now that they're like a cappella, and it's really pretty a cappella, so who knows? I may want to release it that way someday. So I'm dealing with that now to make them just a little bit more elegant. Like, here's another enormous S in the bass. So we're gonna not have that giant S sound. Just gonna. Oh, can I adjust this comp, or do I have it? No. A lot of times when you make a comp, it will have a little lock symbol that means that you can't change any of the data, but then you just right click and unlock the data, and it's okay. All right, so let me deal with this comp. Oh, interesting. It's wanting me to use this tool, but I don't want to use that tool. I just want to, well, all right. Just gonna do that then. I think that'll be okay. And then just fade it a little bit here. And let me see how the S's are sounding, if it's still a lot of or if everybody's together. Yeah, too many. I think it's also in the business bass. Yeah, okay, we're gonna cut out that S as well. Ooh, did I only... Some of these parts I only did once or twice and was like, that's good. So the bass part was one of those. It's nice when I can do that. All right, how's that sounding now? That's a little bit more elegant. Still a bit much. I can see this blob of S in the alto. Not a fan. And it's not lined up with this other soprano S. So let me unsolo everything up here at the top. Just hit the S up the top, and that unsolos everything. And yeah, and this is all done with Cakewalk, and it's just like astounding that this is free, and I'm forever grateful that Cakewalk is free. It's just one of the most powerful DAWs out there. All right, this S in the mezzo. Let's deal with you. I'm gonna split that. Maybe. All right, it's wanting me to do use the little comping tool. Fine, I will. Now I've got that elegantly faded. Let's see if that cleans it up. Oh, shit. It's soloed. Let me just solo the vocals with the bus this way. It's a little easier. Who is S-ing away? All right, this alto needs to calm down with the S. All right, how's that? Now I sort of miss the S. Crazy. Who's going? So, in order to find out who is S-ing all over the place, I want to... What? Jeff, what is this? Vocal Align ARA plugin that comes with Cakewalk? What is that? No, I've never heard of it. That probably deserves its own little show. Jeez, that sounds really helpful. But, well, in my unenlightened, non-plug-in way, what I like to do is to solo each one together and see if they're playing nicely together. Oh, let me take it off of this. Thank you, Mark. That's very kind of you to say. We need to get this lady more recognition. So share the vids. That's very kind. I'm glad you find it helpful and or entertaining. Hopefully both. So all right. So those okay together. The high soprano has that sort of hanging over. But it might be okay. Again, it's good to check with context. So here we go. You know what? I think this S has to go, and the hanging over note is quite lovely. It's in Latin, so I kind of don't exactly care if it's totally understandable as an S. Writing in Latin, man, that was a trip. Oh, do you see what happened just there? So it's important to have the... Oh, shit, I wonder if I... Okay, it's important to have the comp soloed so that that's truly the only thing that is playing. Ooh, I wonder if I messed that up somewhere else. Let's check. Compilation. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So if I don't have the comp soloed, you see what happens? It will decide to use other takes as well. So I want to make sure that these are all soloed. Boy, I messed that up. Okay, that one's soloed. Good. And the alto too. And the mezzo. Yes, got to solo that. Gracious. Okay. This was such a fun project, and it would be fun to build out more of this. There's just so many things I'm learning. It's hard to stop and go back to projects. Do you know what I mean? It's like, oh, I finished it and I turned it in. It's over. It feels good to finish something. It feels so good, in fact, that I don't want to like go back. But this is fun to explain how I did this whole project and talk about each plugin and how I used it and what effects I put on and why. Because nothing's arbitrary. Nothing is, I mean, there's this certain element of like, oh, I'm going to see what this does. But when I'm going through a project, I don't do anything just because. It's all to enhance the sound that I hear in my mind. And everything that I'm learning is to bring out the vision. All right, so where were we with the S's? I think they're okay. So I soloed those two together and they're okay. Nope, let me back that up a little bit. Ooh, what's happening? What? So this is the only thing with comps that it's like makes me want to not. Whoa. Like, what's that little goober? Get rid of that. Try that. Okay, good. Goober is gone. My computer's being a little bit laggy, but yeah. All right, that'll do. And then going through and adding parts until... Ooh, that's a nice little S at the end of that. That might be all I need. Great, that sounds good so far. We'll add this one. Sounds great. Okay, and the tenor. Sounds smooth. Bass. Again, lag. Cool, sounds good. All right, those all sound good now. I just like this little touch of an S at the end of the high soprano is very tasteful. You know what? Woo, I love this. I'm gonna save this. Here's how I've been saving things lately. I put the date. So today is May 2nd of 22. That way I'm not questioning whether it's the latest, like was 01 the latest thing I worked on or 03. Just put the date. That's how I've found one more way I've made my life easier for myself. All right, now that we've saved. Okay, what else should I talk about? I'll just play the whole thing with the video again so that y'all get the sense of what this whole thing sounds like together. And again, just being able to drag and drop a video clip in, or to import it. Like you can go to insert, what is it? Or maybe it's file import, blah, blah, file import video, and it'll plop it into this video track. And it just makes life so much easier to score. Oh, and then I put markers. Like this is where, here, I wonder if I can have a little open video view, but make it a little smaller so that you can see the markers that I put. That's the other beautiful thing about scoring in Cakewalk, is you have these markers that you can mark things in the video where you want something to happen. So let me play this from the top, and I don't have anything soloed. Should be good to go. So this first marker is a ba-dum, ba-dum marker. So I wanted something to happen there. So right there, I didn't mark it, but I knew when this moon shot hit. Oh, plugin called Vocal Sync. And you're gonna give me directions. Okay, I'm writing this down. Vocal Sync. What's it do? What's it do? Does it just like line up the waveforms? Yeah, I'm telling you, the video player in Cakewalk is so fun. One of my mentors, Vincent Corver, suggested that to practice film scoring, you can go and get stock footage. Just like get some free stock footage from like Pixabay or wherever you can get some free stock footage. Slap something together. I mean, because this is just a series of images that are like sort of epic, beautiful images. And so you can slap something together and like just try scoring to it. Just try scoring to it. I thought that was a brilliant idea. Vocal Sync plugin, making note. Okay. All right, so this first one, I knew when the moon hit, I wanted something to arrive in the music, even though it's like on an odd beat, right? It's not exactly on the beat. Just listen and watch. It's like a pickup.
Cor Ardens Terrae,
So like here I have this note, I want strings, because this is like where you first see like this moment where you see that it's a volcano and it is erupting. It's such a big moment of like, oh, this is dramatic. And strings, nothing says drama like strings. So I have a big note there where I wanted to put a marker, strings. And to mark something, you just hit M. You hit M and then it, I hope that's the default. I think that's the default. Either that or I set the key, I set the keystroke to be the keyboard shortcut to be M because I use it a lot to mark things. But I'm pretty sure that that is the default. It's just hitting M makes a marker. I can go through the Orchestra plugins that I use. These other markers I made were like film edits in the film, right? So that this one was, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, that's where it shifted over. That slow motion walking, and it shifts over to the moon, and it shifts over to the volcano again. So markers are really helpful with the video track, arranger track. Really, really helpful. Okay, so going through, I did go through this at the beginning of the live stream, but since y'all arrived, I will go through them a little bit more. So for those of you rewatching this, feel free to not go over it again unless you want to. So this first sound, this kind of electronic boop 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 sound, that is from Vital. I have several sounds in here that are from Vital, and Vital is a free synthesizer. I have all of the plugins that I used in the description, and they're all free, which is outrageous and cool. So this is from Vital. Who made this sound? I get a lot of sounds from the Jansen Sounds Discord group. And Jansen Sounds, gosh, I wish I had put him in the description. He has a great YouTube channel that's like a cooking show for synth sounds. So he like brings you through the recipes of how to get the sound, and it's great. So I'll put that in the description after this is up. So that first one is a Vital sound. The other Vital sound I have in here is this bass, this Reese bass, this just ba-dum sound, this big huge sound. This guy. And you can hear it when it's soloed. It's a synth sound, even though to me it kind of sounds like a big nasty tuba brass section when it's all in context. I just love it. Like, I gotta find out what's the deal with Reese, because it seems like every single Reese sound I just love. I don't know what it is. It might have to do with maybe it's a wavetable, certain type of form. I don't know. But anyway, anything that's a Reese sound is just like this big, nasty, beautiful sound. So, yeah, Vital. Incredible. What a tool. Again, free. You can buy presets, and I bought a set by Millisonics. It's like 500 sounds or something crazy like that, and it was like $20. And this guy is so good, and he's just the nicest guy. He's in Jansen's Discord group as well, and he'll like make custom sounds for people. I requested one where I like literally sang into the phone. I'm like, can you make a sound that sounds like, and he did it like an hour later. Sounding. So I'll have to play that. I'll work on that song that turned into something too. But anyway, Vital is great. Do I have any other Vital sounds in here? Just this E-kick, which is a percussion thing. And, ooh, Surge, huh? Surge is a pretty good free synth, says Mark. I've never heard of Surge. I'm just like so in love with Vital. I don't know if I'm ready for another synth. But I like all the free instruments. So this is one that's just a kick sound, just to give it a little bit more energy, with the to the Taiko drums that I have. So just by itself is not that exciting, but just kind of a boom, boom, boom. It's really there to be more felt than heard, because it helps this Taiko sound, and I'll explain where that came from too. But it helps the Taiko sound to really pop. You can't even like hear that it's an electronic drum in there. It just feels like you feel. God, I love the Taiko sound. It's so satisfying. Yeah. So those are the Vital sounds in there. Vital is extremely versatile. You can see I use it for percussion. I use it for this atmosphere plucky sound. And then I use it for that bass sound. Totally different parts, all the same synth. Incredible. The other library instrument I use is called Sforzando. And it's all based on wave samples, actual wave samples. So it's a lot like Contact. It is free. And the collections that you can get for it are so cool. And again, like Vital with the presets, like there's collections you can buy, but there's a lot of collections for free. All of these were free collections. And this Taiko sound, like I couldn't be happier when I finally got this to work. I feel like I came across this guy's website years ago. I was like, I want that sound, but I don't understand this instrument, and I'm never going to get to install it, and it's probably $1 million. But no, it's free. It's free. And I put that info into the description so that you too can download Sforzando and this Taiko drum set. It's just outrageous. Like, listen to these. These little clack sounds. And the different drum sounds. And the reason that he built it like this, where it's like all of them are next, like a white note and a black note next to each other, so you can do drum rolls really easily. So freaking cool. Yeah. Amazing. Such a big, epic, classic, beautiful sound. So that's Sforzando by Ploeg with the Taiko drum library that you can get from something Christian. I forget his name, but it's in the description. So go check that out. And then, so that's the Taiko drum sound. This French horn sound is one of my absolute favorite sounds that comes with the Spitfire Audio Discovery BBC Symphony Orchestra. This is a great plugin. If you don't have this plugin, it takes 3 weeks, 2 weeks, something like that to get, where you sign up for their mailing list and then you wait and they send it to you in like 2 or 3 weeks, but it's so worth the wait. You can buy it for like $50 right away if you just can't wait, but I mean, time goes really fast and I'm working on other stuff and then suddenly I have this amazing instrument, which I use all the friggin' time. So highly recommend. And that's the French horn sound, and it's one of my favorite sounds on that whole set. It's just beautiful. So I'll play that. It sounds so real. Epic. Through the hills, but you know. So beautiful. Beautiful sound. It sounds so real. And then there's a little flute sound. It's also from the BBC Spitfire. It's just at the end to give a little lightness. It's a really sweet sound. It sounds also quite real. Then these trumpets, these are two different trumpets. One of them is BBC, and then one of them is Sforzando. Part of a collection called the Virtual Playing Orchestra. Again, it was free. And based on actual sampled sounds of a trumpet being played. And I like this one because the BBC is a section of trumpets. And so it sounds like a section of trumpets. It doesn't sound like a single trumpet. But this is a single trumpet sound. So together they have just a little bit more clarity, a little bit more pop. Yeah, Spitfire stuff is amazing. And I love all the labs too. Like these past couple live streams where I was working with the lab sounds for Thrasher. It was great fun. Great fun. I might end up replacing some of the percussion stuff with something beefier, but all the other sounds are just so freaking cool. Anyway, so these two trumpets, so this is just the BBC trumpet by itself. And then this is just the Sforzando trumpet by itself. So then together they just sound a little bit brighter. A little bit more real too, just like a little bit. And something about this, which I said earlier, I'm not sure if you were here for it, but I feel like in every virtual instrument, they have their strengths and their weaknesses, where at some parts they sound really real and really wonderful, and some parts where you just can tell, like, oh, that's a virtual instrument. Oh. And rather than fighting that, I'd really try to work with it and try to put parts that where I like the overall tone and I want that tone, but I know that by itself, sitting by itself would be like, oh, that's a virtual instrument. So I've like got it blended in with other things that sound really wonderful and real, like those French horns, and the cello, and the cello, the tremolo viola sound really nice and really real and really strong. So I wasn't afraid to start right out with those because they sound real. But I wouldn't have started with the trumpet sound, just because I don't have a trumpet that I feel confident is where it's like that can pass for real. But they're pretty good and they add flavor. So I put them where they can shine without being a giveaway. So, okay. So that was Spitfire and Sforzando. And that's it. This bass sound is also the Spitfire. It's the long, here, I'll play it on my little, which is pretty good. I really like the very low bass sounds with this low bowed bass. It goes pretty low too. How low does it go? That's pretty low. So it's nice. And it actually doesn't sound like a section. It sounds like just a bass or two, mostly just one. So I rather like that. There's something about the transitions between notes that doesn't quite feel realistic. There's another bass in Sforzando I really like as well, that in projects after this I've used both, much like I did with the trumpet and in the BBC and in the Sforzando. Just kind of brings out the best in each other. So that was it for the virtual instruments and libraries. I mean, so there's no samples per se in this except what was in the library of sound. It's all in MIDI. And I love that because MIDI is just so much more easy to manipulate than audio. And I can decide on tempo if this was too slow or whatever. But 120 fit just really, really nicely with the visuals. And then the rest was me singing away. Yep, it was really fun to make a whole choir. And I do off-the-cuff harmonies. I picked kind of like what I thought would be a good main melody-ish, but honestly, listening through each part, the main melody isn't really one part. It's all the parts combined into this kind of mega melody. But I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it's lovely. So, unless you have other questions about how I did this or what plugins, I will just play this all again with the visual. And yeah, probably call it. But yeah, if you do have questions, just drop them in the chat and I can answer them if I can. All right, so let's open a video window here. Make it big. It's a little odd. Whoa, what just happened? Oh, that was weird. Open video. Yeah, I'm glad you tuned in too. Thanks, Jeff. So, all right, I've got that full screen now, and let's just play it from the top.
Cor Ardens Terrae, dancing town Terrae, in the
So that's the whole project. It was really fun. So the Latin, by the way, the words, let me see if I can remember what they are. But basically it's about the volcano and how we are nothing compared to a volcano. I wonder if I could pull up the words real quick. It was fun writing them. I reached out to random strangers on the internet to help me with my Latin. It was great fun. So Cor Ardens Terrae, by the way, means the burning heart of the earth. And so Cor Ardens Terrae That means the burning heart of the earth. Dans vitam mortemque means giver of life and death. Iniomus beatus means blessed volcano. Nemo ad gloriam iusmus. Nemo ad gloriam iusmus, which means we are no one compared to its glory. We are no one compared to its glory. Cor Ardens Terrae, burning heart of the earth. It was really fun. It was a longer poem that I wrote, but those flowed the best. I had a previous version that didn't make any grammatical sense, according to the scholar that I ended up working with. So I'm really glad that he stepped in and turned it into what it is now. But yeah, it's sort of an ode to volcanoes and natural beauty. So that's the project. I'm really glad that you... That's funny, Jeff. I failed Latin in high school. It's a dead language that practically killed me. Zombie language. Here to eat your brain. Yeah. It was so fun. I don't know what possessed me to just want to speak Latin. Something possessed me. But I'll probably do it again because it was great fun. And yeah, this was really fun. I'm glad I got to explain the making of this project, and I'm so glad that you got to tune in. Really appreciate you being here. Oh, got a question from Mark. Can I ask what mic you use for your vocals? Yes. I have two mics that I use. I honestly can't remember which one I can remember which one I used for this. I used Behringer B2 Pro. That is an excellent mic. It's a condenser mic, of course, and it really picks up a lot of nice detail. The other mic that I use is the MX990, and I have a video on microphones where you can see both of these. But yeah, the MX990 sounds really nice. I tend to have a very strident voice where often dynamic mics kind of do better with my voice because I have just like lots of power in it. But what was nice about the B2 Pro is it just picked up so much detail. And it's weird because sometimes mics, when they're that sensitive, when you hear the part, just naked, raw part, totally dry just with the mic, it can sound bad because it's like, whoa, there's like a lot of high frequencies and detail in there. But when it's in context, it is magic. So this took me a while to learn that really context makes a big difference when it comes to the flavor of the microphone. So, and this is not a very expensive mic, but it gets great detail and lifelike kind of performances out of it. Otherwise, I use the MXL 990, which is also really good. And yeah, so hope that helps. Anyway, yeah, but you can check the video I have on microphones. I talk a little bit more about them if you're curious. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've perhaps learned something, a thing or two, and been entertained. And I hope that you have a really great whatever time of day it is for you. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye for now.